To the news on the local share market now, and earlier I spoke to Marcus Padley from Patersons Securities. Marcus Padley, the market managed to come back after early weakness. That's a pretty good performance considering Wall Street's wobbles.
Yes, it was. We've got everything going against us at the moment, having a bit of a hesitation at the top here. The oil price is going up. That's threatening global economic recovery. We've got the Libyan issue, the Middle Eastern issues. We've even got worries about Europe now with Greece's debt rating being downgraded, and worries about the Europeans having to put interest rates up despite weak growth because of their inflation issue. That will cause stagflation. So, yeah, we came in this morning thinking the market was going to go down about 25 points according to the futures, and we've ended up 10.
And the finance sector was the best sector on the day. Why was that?
The stocks going up today were really, hate to say, the defensive stocks, because mum and dad investors should never buy defensive stocks. The only defensive stock is cash. But defensive stocks were sort of going up as all around us is volatile and people get risk averse. The banks aren't really involved in the whole overseas problem at the moment. They're also trading quite cheaply historically on 11.1 times. The range that they trade in historically is sort of 10.5 up to anywhere up to 16 times, and the gross yield on the big four is something like 8.8%. So it's a reasonably safe place to put your money, and they have just come off the top a little bit. Also, stocks like Foster's and Woolworths, other safe-ish stocks, did okay today.
And by contrast, the resources sector was dragging its heels.
It certainly was. Metal prices, some of the metal prices were down 4% overnight, with suggestions that copper selling was in large volume as well, which suggests that it's not just speculators, it's long-term selling. And metal prices dragged most of the mid-cap metal stocks down today. BHP was actually up. The other thing dragging on them is, and dragging on the metal markets in London, is that the Chinese Premier downgraded GDP forecast for the next 5 years yesterday at the National People's Conference. He's suggested a 7% growth rate for China for the next 5 years. That's down from 7.5% and compares to 11.2% over the last 5 years. And he's talking about 8% growth this year compared to 9.8% last year. So, presumably growth's going to be below 7% at some point in the next 5 years. That obviously doesn't sit terribly well with resources stocks.
Yeah, well, still on resources, it seems that the rare earth miner Lynas is in talks over its Crown deposit. What do we know about that?
Well, Tiggy, a bit of fuss over nothing really, I think. The company are looking at selling a deposit to Forge Resources, which is a $30 million market cap company. It's a big deal for them because it will probably cost them $30 million, but Lynas is, having gone up from 50 cents to $2, is now a $3.5 billion company. It's pretty immaterial to them.
Packaging giant Amcor announced a successful bond issue. How important was that?
Reasonably important. It's always interesting in a post-GFC environment to see a corporate doing a bond issue. It is a euro bond issue, 550 million. It'll be listed in Singapore. And the real determinant is what sort of demand was there. I think it closed a little bit early. They were 4 times oversubscribed. They had a huge breadth of institutions interested in it. It's all good, basically. And that bond issue goes to cover expire or refinance some debt that's expiring in Europe, and also cover some floating rate bank debt they've got. So it's not like they're sort of raising new money to do anything, they're just refinancing.
And lastly, it's the last day of trade for the AXA Asia Pacific shares, isn't it?
Yes, having got Victorian Supreme Court approval for the scheme of arrangement to merge AXA's business with AXA will stop trading as of now, and tomorrow morning they'll be trading as AMPN, which means their deferred settlement. They'll be trading normally as AMP shares, I think, at the end of the month, 31st of March.
All right, Marcus Padley, thank you very much for joining Late Line Business.
My pleasure, Dickie.